Welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Tuesday, October 28th, 2025 meeting. This is a hybrid meeting, so if you're dialing in with a phone, use *6 to mute and unmute yourself. MCTV is recording us. We don't have to do a roll call because we're all here. And we're gonna start, first I'm gonna do the two withdrawals. So, is it equitable? Yeah. So 2523 Equitable Development LLC, 91 Old Colony Lane. Petitioner request to withdraw without prejudice. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Aye.
Grove Van Zant.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Mike Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
And we have 2545 Dana Jr., Trustee Dry Seal Trust, 605 Plymouth Avenue. Petitioner requests to withdraw without prejudice. Any discussion?
So, this has gone on a long, long time. So I think that if we're gonna let them withdraw, it should be with prejudice, or we should go ahead and vote this.
Anyone else feel about this?
I'd be totally for letting him withdraw, no prejudice.
I don't have a problem with him just withdrawing without prejudice.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know, what I don't know is, did he ask for it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's just
It
not.
was
on
in
this.
our,
Okay.
well, Nancy told me about it.
Yeah, he did send a letter requesting withdraw without prejudice. I thought that was in your.
Oh, and all I
I
read
think it's in the
was,
file, but,
was the
Oh, I think
question.
I forwarded his email.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
Jean?
all right.
I'm fine with that without prejudice.
Eric?
I'm kind of leaning towards Steve a little bit. From the last meeting I saw, that seems like it's been carrying on forever and ever, and it's like, it's 2 years.
So you wanna move forward?
Either move forward or with prejudice, yeah.
You wanna discuss why you wanna do that?
Sure, absolutely.
So there's a violation in place on this, right?
Correct.
It's been there for years, right?
Yep.
And how is this board ever gonna make people comply to their orders if we don't do something to make them comply? So either make them withdraw with prejudice so they can't bring it back for 2 years, vote it down, and then either Andrew has to start enforcing this with penalties for him being in violation every single day for the last, 15 years? Or Bob's gonna have to bring a lawsuit against him.
Bob, do you have anything?
No, I mean, I agree that there was an appeal a couple of years ago. Andrew's opinion was upheld. There's a request for a variance. It's up to the board what to do with the variance, but if we have a zoning violation, we have to address it. We just can't keep on putting it off.
All right. Is Dana out there?
Dana is not out there. Dana is on a boat. He wasn't thinking that this was going to be anything other than what normally happens when a petitioner requests a withdrawal without prejudice. Didn't have any belief that there would be any issue with it. I think there's a conflation of the issues. The variance doesn't have anything to do with any outstanding violations on the property.
Can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
Who are you?
James F. Creed Jr., I represent Mr. Jr.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So there's a conflation of the issues. The fact that there may be outstanding violations on the property has nothing to do with the request for the variance. The request for the variance germinates from the appeal of Andrew's zoning determination, which was denied by the board And at that time, both Andrew and town council indicated that the appropriate means of dealing with that was with the issues that were raised there with regard to the coastal wetlands and the 69 soil survey and the map that goes with that would be more appropriately addressed by way of a variance, which is what led to our filing the variance. I disagree with that. I don't think that's necessarily the way to do it, but because both Andrew and town council suggested that that was the way to approach it, that's the way we've approached it. The request for withdrawal without prejudice emanates from the recent town meeting wherein the planning board proposed changes to the coastal wetlands, reflecting that the 1969 soil survey and the maps that go with it are outdated and have been updated in 2002 to correctly reflect the conditions that exist on the ground. And because that was passed over, it makes, in my opinion, it makes no sense for us to go forward on a variance when the issue may well be resolved in the spring. If the article passes, the variance isn't necessary. If the article is defeated, we will refile the variance and the board will get an opportunity to vote on it. But it doesn't seem to me that if we go forward and this board denies the variance, we then have to file an appeal. Mr. Junior has to spend money, the town has to spend money, and in the end, in the spring town meeting, the issue may be resolved and all of this would have been for naught. It doesn't seem to me to be a good use of either the town's resources or Mr. Junior's resources at this point.
Vacant for years between the period of time that Clark Phillips got permission to leave his school buses there, registered school buses. Then it was vacant for years. That means that that property reverts, even if you remove the conservation restriction and get it out of the coastal wetland, it's still in an R3 zone. And it reverts back to R3 zoning rules, which means there should be nothing there at all.
If I may, that's incorrect. The property is in the B3 zone, not the R3 zone, and it's not vacant. It is being used as is its only allowed use or available use as a commercial parking lot because of the restriction that was placed on it by the Conservation Commission. And that's what the commencement of this request through Andrew was, that the Conservation Commission had indicated that they might consider lifting their restriction on the property, but wanted to see what the Zoning Board of Appeals felt before they would even look at it. So that's why we came to the Zoning Board of Appeals first to seek first to Andrew to seek an opinion. We appealed Andrew's opinion. It was denied, and it was suggested we take it up by way of a variance, which we've done. Now there's a potential resolution to this, one way or the other in the spring. And it doesn't seem to me to make any sense for either us or the town to spend money on an appeal of a variance or to go through this variance process when the issue may be resolved in the spring, one way or the other. But to say that this property has been vacant and has lost its use, it only has one use, given the conservation restriction that's on it, and that's as a commercial parking lot. And it's been used as a commercial parking lot consistently since it was sold by Mr. Phillips to Dana Jr.
Parking lot, I would say that it's a storage facility, and it is partially in the coastal wetland and partially in the inland wetland. Bob, could you just give us your view on this?
Well, what is true is there's a conservation restriction that prevents any structures from being built on the lot. There was a deal made many, many years ago after Clark Phillips was filling this lot to put a conservation restriction on the lot, and the property was allowed to be used for a bus parking lot. That's what it was allowed to be used for. The use that's there, Andrew has already determined, is not legal, and I think Attorney Creed is right. There was a suggestion if you wanted another use, you're going to need a variance, so I think that's why he was here, There was a period of time where the Conservation Commission was willing to discuss cleaning all of this up and allowing some homes, but that requires a lot more than conservation approval. It requires a town meeting vote and secretary energy and environmental affairs approval. So that offer, I guess, was not accepted, and they didn't proceed in that regard, and they've continued on with the current use, which Andrew has determined conclusively is a zoning violation. So, that's where you're at right now.
And say I was mistaken, it's in the B1 zone instead, but still you're allowed that one use. And once they stop using that property, then that use is the only use that's allowed in the future, right?
If you use property in violation of your non-conforming use, you can lose all rights to any use of the property.
So correct, when he was in front of us, I guess back in the spring, didn't we notice the violations and said he had to clean it up because it's junkyard? It's not bus parking. We all agreed on that when he was here before. Can Andrew enforce those violations?
There is no current active violation against this property. I'd like to make that clear, okay? If I'm showing on the screen right here, back in December of 2021, I did issue a notice of violation for this property. They appealed it to this board, and this board overturned the decision of the building commissioner and granted the appeal to Dana Jr. and declared in that decision right here that they stated that the lot is a commercial parking lot and for boat sales. There was a discussion about the possibility that there are maybe multiple uses, but that was never, we never followed up on that because the enforcement letter did not concern the second principal use. And so nothing ever happened with that. It's since then that we've been trying to come to a resolution as to what's going to happen. And this was the process to do that. But there's currently no notice of violation on there. There's no legal way I could go backwards and find them in the past because we don't have a notice of violation against the property right now.
About that.
I want to go, I asked Nancy to get me a copy of the zoning board's decision. Because my memory may be different than Andrew's on this.
Andrew, did you recommend to them to come to us with the variance for this?
No, you guys did.
Yep.
The board did during the last hearing. It was the former board is the one that determined that. They said, you should probably come back for a variance. It was all discussed during the hearing.
So if
exactly
we
the way
recommend
this
something, I
agreed
don't
to
think we should be, I'm not allowing them to withdraw without prejudice.
Well, this is a new board, right, Larry?
Yes. But if I could, we're dealing with something that's been going on since the 70s. And I think Attorney Creed is correct that come this spring, this could all be pretty much alleviated and rectified. So we're dealing with something that's been going on since the 70s. I'm not for going to somebody's property and telling them within a matter of months, dropping a hammer on them like this.
If they come back and after the vote happens and come back with the variance again, I have no problem with the withdrawal with prejudice, but right now we recommended them to do it. I don't see the harm.
Well, the reason there's no violations right now is because the intro hasn't gone down there and written them up. If you got a complaint, he'd go down there and write him a violation. Isn't that right, Andrew?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you because you're not
So
speaking into the microphone. I can't hear you.
If you got a complaint, I know you don't take anonymous complaints, but if someone came in and gave you an actual written complaint, you'd go down there and write them up, right? Violation.
Depends what the request for enforcement is for, Steve. I'm not going to deal in hypotheticals until I see an actual request for enforcement.
But again, this has been going on since the 70s. It can very clearly be rectified come this spring at town meeting. If, no matter which way the vote goes, it would be rectified.
But let me also be clear is, let's say the vote allows the new map to come in and all this gets cleared up. There's still a conservation easement on this property that doesn't allow any structure to go on it. So all of this is moot.
Well, at one time.
Right, Bob?
I'm sorry, I'm just reading the decision.
Oh, sorry. From my perspective, regardless of any decision going on, there's still this conservation restriction on it that doesn't allow anything to happen.
Correct, the legislature would have to vote to remove it.
Right, and, you know, at the end of the day, what we do or not, or what the town votes even, you know, in the next town meeting,
Doesn't affect it.
doesn't affect it.
I agree.
So the board's decision basically was, he was accused of having junk there. And he had cleaned up the junk before the conclusion of the meeting, so the board did not find that there was a violation by the storage of junk. But it left open the issue of the underlying use and whether that was correct or not correct.
What's the date?
December 14th, 2021.
Because I remember when I first came on this board a year and a half ago, going and looking at this, and there is lots and lots and lots of junk that is still there that could be made loose and float away in any type of a storm. I'm not talking about the- I'm not talking about the
Unregistered vehicles.
I'm not talking about the vehicles, or I'm just talking about the detritus that's all underneath all
There's a
that.
difference between registered vehicles and unregistered vehicles when you try to make it a parking lot.
So that was my question that I was willing to ask, is that it's a commercial parking lot. I know if anybody has commercial vehicles, you can only park so many vehicles on a spot, and they all have to be registered. You can't have 15, 20 unregistered, uninsured vehicles. Are all of these vehicles on this spot, are they all registered? Are they all insured? We know even know who half these people are who own these things?
So Bob, what is
And-
the scope of what we're doing right here?
Well, Attorney Creed and Mr. Junior have requested a variance to make some residential use of the lot. I think they have the right to request that withdrawal if they don't want to go forward with that proposal. But it's up to you to decide whether it's with or without prejudice. Okay, the issue that was decided before was Andrew wrote them up for the open storage of junk and junk automobiles. And he.
That's not in front of us right now.
No, but we were talking about what's the situation with the property and whether Andrew has an enforcement issue or doesn't have an enforcement issue. He doesn't have an open storage of junk and junk automobiles issue as of December 14, 2021, because Mr. Junior had cleaned the stuff up. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't more than one use on the property, or there wasn't some other zoning violation on the property. And it's not an authorization to use it as a commercial parking lot. It was given permission to store school buses on that lot. That's the only permission that was given. There's no other use.
Okay,
I know we talked about the junk though when he was here before.
you know,
But to me, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the variance,
withdrawing a variance.
you're withdrawing it.
Attorney Creed, do you have anything to offer? More?
On which topic?
I don't know, I guess.
I count four topics before you now, but the only one that I've put before you is withdrawal without prejudice.
I say, let's take a vote on the variance.
All right.
I,
So Bob, again, the voting members would be the five that are full-time?
You have to say who's the voting member.
I understand, but this thing came in front of us before these two came on the board.
Filed
Are
the
they
Mullen
allowed,
Act.
are they allowed?
Eric and
to
I
be
filed the
on?
Mullen Act.
I have Mullen forms.
If they only missed one meeting where there was subsequently discussed, they can review the record and file a Mullen affidavit and participate.
All right, so they did that and we're
If they
safe.
missed two, then they can't.
Attorney Creed, are you okay with understanding what we're about to do?
I have no idea what you're about to do.
Well, we're gonna vote on the variance withdrawal. And even though Eric and Steve are new members and this came in May, Bob's saying they filled out the Mullins Act, so we've only had substance on this one meeting.
That's fine.
So you're the chair, Brian, so if you want to vote on
I think we're
withdrawal,
gonna vote,
on the withdrawal, I prefer to vote on the variance itself.
that's what we're doing.
Oh,
no.
you're saying withdrawal.
Withdrawal,
with-
yeah,
All prejudice on the
I
variance.
I prefer to vote on the variance.
but they can't even give a presentation.
Oh, well, that was,
Not
that would
my
be,
fault.
but that would be different. He wants to vote on doing the variance.
You can take a vote on the withdrawal without prejudice if it doesn't pass, or you can take a vote on the variance. It's your call, Mr. Chairman.
I mean, how long are we gonna go on with this?
Yeah. Jay, do you have anything else to offer?
So you're gonna vote on the variance without any presentation? Has everyone read everything? Does everyone have all their questions answered? Is that what Mr. Lynch is proposing?
I'm ready to vote on the variance. You wanna come forward with a presentation?
I fully
Then we'll give-
understand
Then
what
we'll
your
we'll give you to the end of the night, how's that?
What was that?
I said, give it to the end of the night, come on in. How long is this gonna go on?
Would you be interested in voting for a
I
continuance?
think if you're gonna act on the variance, then you should have the presentation.
We'd have to-
Okay,
I don't
then-
think that was all right.
All right, fine. So,
Yeah. So Jay, would you want to present the variance at another meeting, or are you ready tonight?
I would prefer that my client be available, which is not tonight. So I would, if we're gonna go forward on the variance, then I'd ask for a continuance to your next available meeting.
then we need a letter for constructive variance, is that what we need?
No, well, Attorney Creed can provide a letter if he wants to have a continuance and give the presentation.
Okay,
You good with that, Jay?
Brian, you should vote on the withdrawal, though. If you're not, that's why they're on the agenda, right?
That's the way
They're on the agenda for variance, but Attorney Creed is asked to withdraw without prejudice. If you want to vote on the withdrawal without prejudice, vote on it. If you don't get a vote, then you gotta schedule this for hearing. You need an extension letter from Attorney Creed.
That sounds good.
All right.
Vote on, allow it, withdraw.
So we're gonna vote on allow to,
Withdraw without
okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we vote to withdraw without prejudice 2545 Dana Jr., trustee, Dry Seal Trust, 605 Plymouth Ave, and the voting members will be Larry, Steve, Grover, myself, and Eric.
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye?
Steve Lynch, nay.
Or Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye?
Max Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
Oh, so it passes. All right, withdraw without
Thank you
prejudice.
very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Andrew. All right, so now we're gonna get into letter A, 2547A, Helen and Kevin Tarpey. The petitioners are seeking a variance in accordance with 305 and 11 of the Marshfield Municipal Code for relief from 305-608-32 to elevate the 14-foot by 30-foot rear deck to 7'8" from the grade to deck surface so that it is level with the main living floor of the property. Located at 47 Constitution Road, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on plan K1122, and is located in the R3 Inland Wetland Zoning District. Go ahead.
So again, my name is Kevin Tarpey. This is my wife, Helen Tarpey. We are in the process right now of taking down the cottage at 47 Constitution Road and rebuilding a new home there. This cottage has been in my wife's family for about 60 years now. And our plan is to stay in this house, age in place, and to reside in the home till, for the rest of our lives. And so what we're requesting here from the board tonight is to see if we can elevate the back deck up to the main living floor, the first floor, so that primarily, and we gave several different reasons, but the main reason for us is, as I said, we want to age in place in this house, and we think for safety reasons, especially as we age, and we might have different issues like mobility issues, if there's ever an issue in the house, an emergency, it would be a lot safer for us to be able to get out of the house if it was all in one level, as opposed to leaving the back door being faced with a landing, then 5 or 6 steps to another landing, to another 6 steps down to the grass level. Again, this is in the back of our house. We don't, all of the people we've spoken to around our abutters and neighbors are fine with this. It's not going to be an impact to anyone's. We're the 7th house back from the ocean, so it's not going to be an issue of like blocking someone's view or light or that sort of thing. So we're asking the board to approve the variance so that we can have it level with the main living floor.
Okay.
So if I understand correctly, you're asking to make sure that this is level to facilitate ingress and egress for handicapped access.
Correct. As we, exactly.
That's your
mobility.
primary,
Reason, right.
okay.
I mean, there have been other houses that were in the R3 district. There's been other houses that have been elevated and also been allowed to elevate their decks. One of them basically diagonally across from us on Surf Ave. And many of the houses on, say, Bay Ave and R3 district are also elevated with elevated decks. So what we're asking for really is something we feel is fair and reasonable and has been approved before.
Andrew, what do you think on this?
Similar to request to what you had at 125 Surf Ave, where they had the elevated, they elevated, but they wanted to have some decks right off of the house instead of dropping down to the 4 feet. So they had to come and get a variance to encroach that setback. This is a similar request, except for it's the rear yard instead of the front yard.
Because of the floodplain, the elevation there, that the house had to be elevated, and we have a mechanism that allows this to go up. You get to carry that footage, basically, the baseline of the floodplain is where we use our 35-foot measurement from, but we don't do that for the decks.
That's not entirely correct, Brian.
All right, so if you
It's,
explain it.
there's a difference in that there isn't actually a anything related to flood zone in regards to decks. It's still just the 4 feet off the ground, which is the reason they're requesting the variance, because the house itself, the existing house, was conforming. The deck that they had coming out to about the same thing also was conforming. Now they're putting the house up. The house itself is conforming, but they can't have like a regular sized deck with that house because it's being elevated due to the flood zone.
Right, so there's no, like, that mechanism that we have to do that doesn't carry with the deck, it just carries with the house
It just carries with the overall building height.
height. Okay.
So Brian, I'm gonna have to recuse myself on this one, because I went and looked at the property, and their next door neighbor is a ex-partner of mine in a fishing business. And, he didn't ask me to do anything inappropriate, but he's like, they're friends of mine, you should, I'm on board with this. So just in case there's any appearance,
Okay.
I'm gonna recuse myself.
What's in the space below the main living space? You say it's not up in the drawing.
So what will happen is,
It's going up to 4 feet, what's gonna be below you?
so below the deck was
Yes,
just.
below the, when you said your living space, the deck's gonna come evenly out your living space. What's below your living space?
So below
Just
this,
a 4
there'll
foot
be a
crawl space?
undercar garage in the front.
Okay, so
Two-car
you're gonna have
garage,
a
and then the
garage.
back is gonna be more like the storage
Okay.
under the deck.
You're raising the whole house, though.
Yes.
That's why you're raising the deck, is so when you walk out of the
Yeah,
house,
right.
you're not have to go downstairs to get on
Yeah.
your deck.
The deck's not gonna be off your garage.
It just doesn't get any relief from the flood.
That's weird.
Yeah, strange.
I'd like to hear from the neighbors if we could.
Oh, yeah, well, so Andrew spoke. Bob, you have anything to add?
No, I just, I tried to point out in my memo.
I saw it, yep.
The deck is gonna be at like 9 or 13 feet, and that's pretty high, and, when you can only have a fence that's 6 feet high, that does cause an issue. If the neighbors don't have an issue, then maybe you all feel differently about it. I don't have an opinion, but I just wanted you to be aware that that deck is significantly high on a very small lot.
Do we have any neighbors here? Do we have anyone online that wants to speak about this? Do we have anything further from the board?
I can tell you the next door neighbor was on board with it.
Okay, thank you, Steve. All right, so I'm gonna move that we close 47 Constitution Road, 2547A, Helen and Kevin Tarpey. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Grover Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Mac Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
So the voting members on this will be Larry, JJ, myself, Gene, and Eric. So I'm gonna move that I'm gonna move that the board vote to grant the variance, the petitioner's application for a use variance, subject to the conditions. Andrew, what about just add on the as-built and the,
Will they have an opportunity?
building permit?
It looks like they're gonna vote.
Well, they already have a special permit for this, and so that they're already gonna be complying with the floodplain bylaw and doing all the things. So I think that you just need to issue the variance and
Okay,
You
that
know.
covers it.
regular conditions apply.
So, subject to the conditions of as-built and a building permit, based on the finding that the applicant proposal to elevate the 14-foot by 30-foot rear deck to 7/8 from the grade of the deck surface on the property located at 47 Constitution Road as described in a 3-page narrative shown on Raise and Rebuild Site Plan, June 26, 2025, and last revision August 8th, 2025. Morse Engineering Incorporated, Jason Scott, PLS, and Gregory Morse, PE, meets the variance criteria of section 1011 of the bylaw. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Grover Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Mac Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
Congrats.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Joey Age again, please. Right there with you.
Yeah, variance was a lot, yeah, them a lot.
All right, now we have 2562 Bridal Crossing LLC. In accordance with Massachusetts Comprehensive Permit Regulations 760 CMR 560511, the petitioner is requesting a project change from 56 rental housing units to 56 condominium housing units on the property located at Bridal Crossing off Ferry Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel G122902, located in the R1 zoning district and water resource protection district. Go ahead, name and address for the record.
Good evening, Walter Sullivan. I'm a lawyer from Norwell, and I represent the applicants and owners of this property, Bridal Crossing LLC. With me is one of the managers of Bridal Crossing, Kevin Seelan, and behind me is another manager, Matt Dacey. Just by way of historical background, because I recognize some of the members are new, over a year ago, we were granted a comprehensive permit to develop this property with 56 rental units. There was an appeal by some of the abutter group. We were able to dispense with that appeal. More recently this summer, we came in and suggested a minor modification. In that request for the minor modification back in August and September, we approached this idea that this was changing the ownership unit from rental to condominiums, should be considered by this board, and didn't require a public hearing. This board heard us and said it was of the opinion that this was not a minor modification and we needed to advertise for a public hearing, so here we are. The rationale behind this is that in the initial hearing process, there was a robust abutter group, and one of the issues they kept bringing up was that there were enough apartments, there were enough rental, and there should be ownership. That was not our original design. That wasn't what we had applied for. But we did, towards the end of the process, say that that's something we'd be amenable to. At that time, the town of Marshfield hadn't reached 10% of inventory of affordable units. So that was something that was dispensed with, and we went forward on the rental, and then we came back. We have looked at this, and our research is that clearly there's a need for homeownership. Of the affordable housing, and now, of course, the town is over 10%, but of the affordable housing in town, over 90% of it is rental. And we've submitted materials from Steve DeCastro and other consultants, but of the 1,087 subsidized units in Marshfield, 1,023 are rentals. Only 30 single-family owners, that's 2.7%, and 34 condominiums, so 3.1%. So as this board undoubtedly knows, the town gets credit for all of the rental towards the 10%. But now that you're substantially over the 10%, if we were to convert this to condominiums, the town will continue to be over 10%. It's not much of a dent, but it will offer the residents of Marshfield an opportunity to benefit from homeownership. The equity that accrues, the ability to gain, increase on a resale, and all of those things that comes from homeownership. So we were originally of the position that this was a minor modification. I think we have support at the state and local level for this from a number of sources. We think it's good for the town. There's no jeopardy to the SHI. And so that's why we are here tonight, and we'd be happy to answer any other questions. But we think it's good for the town. We think it's a better project with condominiums.
Thank you. Now, Bob, will you clarify what is the scope we're allowed to discuss here tonight?
The only thing you're allowed to discuss is the issue of whether this is gonna be apartments or condos. And that's it.
Okay.
So Bob, I can't discuss the amount of housing, total houses we have at Marshfield, the amount of units we're over, the affordable
No.
amount? No?
No. It's only whether, the only aspect, when someone proposes a change to a comprehensive permit, it's only the change that you can discuss.
But it has a huge effect on the affordable housing count.
I mean, if it has some bearing
It does.
on the issue of apartments versus condo, I think you can talk about it.
So right now, you say we're over by plenty. We have 28 units. That puts us over the criteria for having a 40B. And if you kept it as apartments, you would be adding 56 to that 28 to get us even further up. We're at 10.26% currently. If you go to condos, you're gonna bring us to 10.39%, but that's because we're not gonna change these numbers to the 2030 census. So really, you're putting us in jeopardy of another 40B by doing this. If you were to offer us, let's say, all 56 units, am I allowed to say that or what, Bob? As
Well,
affordable?
as a practical matter, the state law requires them only to make 1/4 of the units affordable. We couldn't impose on them without creating an uneconomic condition, that requirement.
And so are we allowed to know what percentage of profit is gonna increase? Because there's a law on how much their profit is allowed to be in the 40B, right? So how's the profit gonna be affected
So
by going to condos rather than apartments?
let me just explain how profit comes in and when the board has a right to ask about profits. If you propose a condition that the applicant contends renders the project uneconomic, then the board has the ability to ask the applicant for a pro forma, but not until.
Okay.
So it's premature to make that request.
But if we didn't give them the permit and we kept it at apartments, then we'd be moving from 10.26% to 10.79%, which would give us another little margin of safety on 40Bs.
I don't know the exact math, but I think
I
you're
figured
absolutely,
it out
but
today.
you're exactly right. All the apartments count.
We have 10,594 units in Marshfield. They want to add 56 to it. And we have 1,087 affordable units currently.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. If they're all apartments,
I hope
all
not the whole
56
damn
units,
computer.
I thought we
all
were at
56 units count.
10.26.
If this is an ownership, ownership project,
Okay.
only 25% of the units count.
Of course, if we do the 14 condominiums, they count.
But those count.
So it goes from 10.26 to, I think it's 10.39.
That's right.
Right.
So you do get a bump.
Well, yours is 10.39, my figure's 10.34, not that,
Yeah.
we're not here.
Splitting hairs, you're right.
Splitting hairs, it doesn't
Right,
matter,
it's-
doesn't matter, I know.
You're talking a percentage point when people have an ownership in our community, which I think having ownership is a huge, huge.
That's one of the things.
I agree, Larry, absolutely, having ownership, gives them
That was
know,
the thing the
just to
neighbors all wanted.
Yeah.
appreciate,
And the
just to
community-
appreciate the future, absolutely, and, you know, maybe some people say community stability, but it could be community stability in the wrong direction. We don't know.
I would just add, yeah, this has kind of come up since we've been involved in this project. And when we sat down and looked at available units in this price range, it's all rental. There's virtually no homeownership, so this is an opportunity. So, you know, it's good for my client, it's also good for the town. That's how we viewed it.
Right.
And, you know, again, it came up in the initial hearing that we might drop under 10% over a year ago. But since then, that's not the issue anymore. You would not drop under that safe harbor.
Well,
We can't.
that's because we add affordable, but in 2030, we'll be adding total.
Yeah, 2032 will be exposed, again, because we'll have ADUs and everything else.
Well, that's when the census is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they secure it
I
in
mean,
2032. 2030 is the census. The government gets it done in 2 years. They get the tally.
I go back to the public policy aspect of this, is we're trying to get affordable units and affordable housing. And I don't know why your consultant says surprisingly, you know, buying is cheaper than renting. That's always been my perspective as long as I've been alive. So if you want to make this more affordable, you would actually make these condos rather than rentals, because you build equity, right? You've got the tax benefit, you've got actually lower operating costs. The only issue is the capital costs that people will have to come up with. But it is capital that is hopefully a good investment. So I get it, that the operating costs are lower, the capital cost is significantly higher, other than the capital cost of first and last month's rent and security deposit versus a down payment. I get that. But to me, if we're looking at driving the public policy aspect of creating more affordable housing, you would actually shift this to be condos, in my view.
I think the market units as well.
I don't know the market.
Well, the market units as well offer a greater
What about,
affordability to the people that are buying the market units.
so there was a lot of discussion about, you know, the septic system and all that. And you were going to have people there for the alarms. Are you gonna create an association there to make sure that this is all, like that part of it is not gonna change if it's all individual ownership?
Correct. The homeowners association will still be intact.
Okay.
We'll make sure it's well-funded.
Okay.
Take care of that. We've agreed to do the generators. I don't know if you recall, we talked about that.
Yeah, the generators, I do remember.
So all of those things are gonna stay in place. You know, we have a policy also when we do these homeowner associations, a kind of, I don't know the correct term, but we almost like super fund them. So we subsidize the fund so that, especially at the beginning, you know, when there's not many people living there and there's not that much money, you know, we'll subsidize that somewhat and make sure there's plenty of money in case there's any issues.
I think that was an excellent point, Gene. That was discussed in depth, of rentals being there and people putting contaminants down the
That's the
drain.
main
this,
question
this,
people
this.
had. Yeah,
No,
they
no,
wanted
people,
ownership.
if you have home ownership, I think there's.
You're more vested, that's what
You're
the
vested, but you
audience.
still have to have some kind of a safety, and,
The
you know.
money still has to work.
Right, yeah.
And that's the HOA.
That's correct.
right.
There'll be a condo association, it'll be regulated, again, the state will be involved when there's sale of units, resales, all that stuff. All of that stuff will have to pass the state satisfaction.
Are we allowed to make sure that there's a contingency on that,
Yeah,
Bob,
we
or
put,
discuss?
we had that in the
You,
decision.
you can require them to pre-fund in some respect the condominium association for condominium expenses.
Which you're already proposing to do anyway.
That's what we would do.
I think it was already part of the original agreement.
Well, it wouldn't have been because it was
It was
apartments.
apartments.
Well, you were responsible for it.
But if
They
they
were
sold
still
the-
Oh, yeah,
responsible.
whatever entity owned the apartments
Is
was responsible for
the
all of
funding.
the costs.
Yeah, so now it's the group is, but. they're
You would,
still
if you
responsible.
were inclined to approve it, you'd have to add a condition that related to that issue.
Yeah, okay. So do we have anything else?
Neighbors?
Oh, yes, I'm gonna ask next. Any neighbors wanna speak on the change?
Mary Taylor, Grove Street. I am in a butter. I like the idea of condos. I always have. I have great concern, though, about the affordability of the condo association to manage these complex septic systems. And we don't know currently in 2025 what the status of the proposed septic systems that were approved for this. We don't know what their status is with the state or with the,
We've
their
actually been
approval.
updated on that, to be honest.
Okay, well,
Ed, Ellen, can I have Ed Pesci speak to that, or the?
Well, then I have a question about the costs. One would assume that as those get built out in places, the costs would go down because the understanding of how they work goes up. But nothing seems to go down in price anymore.
Right.
So I still have as a person who is really concerned about the water in this, in the town, that is the primary concern, is that septic. As for ownership, amen, that's great, ownership is great. I think it's just, the burden goes to the homeowners association, and funding that, I think, is a great caveat, I mean, I think that'd be a great idea to
That would be
have.
funded equally as to what would have been funded for the apartments, meaning that they were gonna fund the apartments, same amount of money and same.
Well, you have to put that restriction in.
It's going in the new
Yeah,
decision.
okay, well, that's important, and I agree with that idea. Other than that, carry on.
Ed, can you speak to the Clean Two update?
Yeah, I think I didn't hear the question completely.
I was asking about if there's any update on Clean Two and its use,
The cost of its use,
the cost of its use, or,
The cost of its use. You mean the operation and maintenance cost?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
I guess so.
yes.
There's no substantive change. For the record, I'm Ed Pesci of Pesci Engineering, Consulting Engineer for the board. There's no substantive change on the cost, the O&M cost, to operate and maintain the Clean Two denitrifying septic systems. I'm actually engaged right now in 7 of these systems at another site in Martha's Vineyard right now. And they're all under one stage or another of construction. So there are 2 large systems that have been constructed and built. And they're using the same relative cost, the same cost to operate and maintain and sample and analyze, because they're part of the DEP's piloting approval, provisional use approval for these septics for this site. So they still have to do some operational testing and submit those reports to DEP. But I don't see any issues with them. I think I spoke with the applicant recently, and I think they were going out to bid very soon to get some pricing on the installation of the systems. But there's been no change substantively since the original application.
And has there been any more approvals on the system through the state? Any update on that?
Yeah, there's been no change. It is still in a provisional use approval. They did make in the last year, they did make one slight minor change that DEP accepted, and they just want to get 6 months of testing data before they make that a general part of their provisional approval. So it's just a recycle line, a pumping recycle line from the front of the system back to the septic tank, and it markedly improves the performance of the septic system. So DEP really wants them to do it. So they actually had to show that, Clean Two had to show that on 5 different systems. They've already got them running on 5 different systems, and they're taking the testing and doing the sampling and analyzing starting this fall. So it's a positive development, but it's still in process.
Any other questions?
I could add a comment or two. So as part of our original design, we took into consideration things like failure because of the sensitive area with the Zone 2. These systems are 8 separate distinct systems. So the chances of all 8 going down simultaneously is, pretty crazy, the odds. So as the systems come online, we'll be able to monitor them pretty closely, really closely, through the required testing of the state. So I think there's a margin of safety in that as well. It's not like a septic treatment plant, the whole thing's on one, and when it goes down, the whole system goes down, you know what I mean, for all 56 units. So in that light, I don't think we'd need to put up too much money to be able to guarantee, replacement of a system if it fails. And I think we could easily accomplish that with the condominium form of ownership and the HOA and just fund that. I could work with Ed to put together some numbers to replace the system. I don't know, Ed, does that sound like something that we could figure out?
Absolutely, I will make sure, I think, because of the previous ownership concept, the operation and maintenance costs were on the developer, on the operator of the apartments. So now, if we're going to shift that ownership or that O&M responsibility to the owners or the HOA, there needs to be enough money in the HOA in their operating account to be able to cover that, and an HOA fee schedule to support that on an annual basis, so that the cost to do those things are taken care of. Just to give you an idea, we are, for the several systems I mentioned, we're using a planning figure of about $5,000. $10,000 for about 5 years. So of operation and maintenance costs, but we don't have to provide 10 years of operation and maintenance costs, but that's something that you can get that information from Clean2, what the annualized cost is to not operate, the electricity is part of the electrical use. The only electricity is the fan blower system. But it's just the electric use consumption in the house, but it's the site visits, it's the taking samples and reporting it to DEP. That is the maintenance cost that needs to be included in the HOA. So I think I can, on behalf of the board, I can certainly work with the applicant to come up with what that cost ought to be, and we can make sure that that's funded in the HOA, at least for the first couple of years, and then it becomes part of the HOA, the annual fee, or the quarterly fee, however they structure it.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to come up with, some conditions to add to this. So Bob, would we be able, we wouldn't vote this tonight, or we?
I think it's always better to leave a hearing open until you formalize the conditions.
Well, the conditions, okay.
Right, I mean, I think you need to take a once-over on the existing comprehensive permit.
Yeah, we wanna make sure we get everything
See if
covered.
there's any other conditions that would need to be changed. Obviously, there was a unit over the property owner before, and now there's gonna be a condominium association, so.
We changed it.
Yeah, we wanna make sure,
And then
just wanna make sure this is funded no matter what happens, so.
So I have
Ed?
one more comment.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
So we're gonna be losing 42 affordable units in our count if we vote for this.
We are.
And so maybe, and I get a memo from Karen Hahn today, and she was thinking maybe you want to sweeten the pot a little bit to make it more,
She wanted to add one more unit.
yeah, sweetening the pot.
Well, I knew this was gonna come up. So, we'd rather not, obviously. I mean, I'll just go back and just review this a little bit. It won't take a second, but remember, we came in after another applicant tried to do this, and we met with Greg Guimon at Planning and Karen Horn informally when we got started with this, and we spoke to you, Brian, too, a little bit informally. So I remember Greg kind of laid down, he says, well, Peter wanted to take out 400-something thousand yards. Can you cut that in half? We said, we can try. So we went, put our heads down and figured it out, and we got that down to 125,000. That's one thing. And we got involved with the hearing process. We had a complete design of a different system. Butters weren't happy. The board wanted more information. We threw the original design out and went with Clean2, which was almost twice as expensive.
I know,
as
it
our original
was
system.
more
I don't know if you
than
recall.
22,000.
It's easy to forget these things, you know?
Yeah.
You know, we were appealed on the project. We satisfied the butters. We hired a soil consultant at over $100,000 to keep an eye on us, if you will.
Yep.
And he's out there actively doing his work. And I just feel like we've been backed up and backed up and backed up, and we've done everything we can. And to ask for another unit is a lot. It's a $250,000 hit. And moreover, I still think the board has to consider the market units. You know, it takes another unit out of the market. And those market units, I think, are gonna be very desirable to people that wanna downsize and the younger people. So You put another one in the lottery, you take it out of the market, and I'd rather not do it
You're gonna guarantee us the market price is gonna be in the $500,000 range?
for the one bedroom. Yep. I don't know, we don't have final prices, but we're gonna be in the 500s.
So, I gotta tell you, if this was just straightforward, we're losing 42 affordable units in our count, I would be voting against this. But I have to take into consideration your neighbors, and they went through a lot in this, and I'm sure they would rather have condominiums than apartments.
They
So-
all asked for that throughout the meeting.
So, because of that, that's why I would be swayed to vote for the condominiums.
And I just wanna verify the count, so there's 56 total units, right? Because a local photographer online said there were hundreds.
Yeah.
So there's definitely 56.
56 units, right. So 42 are markets,
Right.
and.
But there's
what's the matter?
56 total,
So it's 40.
not hundreds.
I mean, I'm in favor of this because it drives a more affordable housing, right, in general. My only issue
Right.
is that the we changes. And I was very comfortable that you guys were gonna be responsible for the monitoring, for all the things that needed to be done. And now that moves to an HOA. So as long as we get our ducks in a row.
Yeah, we get our
it gets-
language in
It gets the
there.
conditions done. so
Money
that
and
that
language.
responsibility passes to the HOA.
So we have no problem.
They're gonna fund it in the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
problem with
well,
that,
but at
because
some
that's
point
how
in the
we
future,
do
the
it.
HOA
Yeah.
is like
I
an
know what it
unelected
is.
school committee.
I know.
Right, right. I mean,
So,
But they were all owners, and
so we
that's,
have no problem with that, because we roll the
that's the
same
big
way. We want,
thing they wanted.
we want everything on the
Yeah.
up and up, we want the fees set correctly, so there's enough money put aside. I'll work it out with Ed.
Thank you.
He's talking about maintenance, I think we have to come up with more than that, I think we have to come up with maintenance and another adder for replacement.
Right.
You know, if something prematurely fails.
well, you have a reserve policy that you have to fit anyway,
Right.
so I get it. Thank you.
All right, any other questions from anyone? So we're gonna continue. Nancy, when are we meeting again?
Until November 25th.
November 25th.
Veterans
is
Day
Veterans Day.
took away our first meeting.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking of Thanksgiving. But that must be before Thanksgiving. All right.
That's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
If I may, Mr. Chair, so what we're gonna do between now and the 25th?
Just work with Ed and get
Work
this
with
thing
Mr.
done.
Chair. All right.
If you can get the written information to us so Bob and Andrew can review it.
You should have them
that'd be great.
submit a edited comprehensive permit with the revisions for the condominium association.
Okay,
Who will do that?
I'm sorry, we'll
Us?
do that?
Yeah.
Mr. Governor? Yeah, sure, we can do
what
that.
Bob said.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Just want to let you know that I will be traveling to California that day to visit kids and grandkids for the holidays.
Well, all the
for
work will be
Thanksgiving.
done by then.
Yes,
You'll have all the work
I'm with
done.
you. Right.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
All right, so we're gonna vote to move it to the November 25th. Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Steve Lynch, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Mac Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee,
Eric Murphy, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
You too. All right, so now we are on to 2557A, Sailors Valentine Trust. Petitioner is seeking a variance in accordance with 305-1011 of the Marshfield Municipal Code for relief on 305-1302C2. The place approximately 203 cubic yards of compatible sand on the beach area under and around the existing dock to restore the beach elevation to previous levels, plant with marsh, grass where possible, and install fiber rolls and retain the newly placed nourishment and prevent erosion on the property located at 34 Marginal Street rear, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel M051015, located in the R3 zoning district in coastal wetlands district. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Tim Shanahan from 34 Marginal Street rear. Online with us is Mark Burgess, our consultant from Shorefront Consulting. Give you a quick background of this property. In around 1950, the Army Corps of Engineers and federal government took the harbor dredgings and put them up on the marsh. So it's got a different look and feel than all the rest of my neighbors along Green Harbor and the Cut River. A couple of years back, we did a fully permitted dock and boat lift that's in place. And in, I think, 2018, when the Bombogenesis storm happened, it broke the riverbank and caused basically daily erosion ever since then. So we've lost a lot of the sand that was up on the property. It's now down in the Cut River and in the harbor and under my boat lift. So we are looking to repair the riverbank and, as you described, put plantings and marsh grass in place to hold it all together. We started this process with the Conservation Board, and they had us file a floodplain permit, which got us in front of the building commissioner, who said no fill of any kind can happen in Marshfield. So we need a variance to move forward. And we're not looking to fill in a chunk of land and build anything. We're not putting houses or decks. We're just trying to restore the riverbank and kind of get it back to where it was roughly in 2018.
Okay. Andrew, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I've given you all notes on this before.
Right.
I do not think that this should be allowed to happen, quite honestly. There is no fill allowed in the coastal wetlands district. I don't agree with the assessment. I feel like this is an example of an area that has been allowed to be developed into a beach, basically, and that it wasn't like that prior to 2017.
It absolutely was.
Because I can go back on these satellite imagery and show what it looked like back then, and it was a bank. It was a marsh bank there here with vegetation. There was no path through the marsh here. There was no structure out there, and all that came later after the purchase of the property. Then it started getting used as kind of a beach. And ever since the dock has been put in, it's been more and more erosion. And that's, in my opinion, due to the increase of human activity in that area and less to do with any type of storm breaching or anything like that.
That is absurd. I live on the property. I was there for the storm. There was no way that happened by human.
Quiet while he's speaking,
Okay.
okay? Thank you.
This is not beach nourishment as it's described in floodplain management. This is just filling in the marshland. In the coastal wetlands district, it's prohibited. In my opinion, that's why I denied the floodplain permit, and that's why I told conservation that when they have something in a coastal wetlands district, they need to make sure they go to the zoning board of appeals first to make sure that the use is allowed. In this case, this use of fill in a coastal wetlands district is not allowed, so that's why they're seeking a variance.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, please. Name and address for the
Yes.
record.
Yes, for the record, I'm Mark Burgess of Shorefront Consulting. I'm an ocean engineer by degree, and I've been doing this kind of permitting and designing for over 25 years. The coastal processes that have occurred at this site are, in my opinion, entirely natural. There was marsh in the older photos. You can see that marsh was across most of this opening, but over the years it has chipped away at it, and now the ocean has free rein to go in there and remove the soil. Now, this is entirely a natural process of erosion, agreed. It's not man-made, it's not exacerbated by the dock, it's not exacerbated by human use. Nature has way more energy than human use of this site could ever impact. It's just that the opening of around where the dock is, the marsh edges have degraded over time, which allow more water to go in, and then of course more sediment to go out. So we propose this solution as a restoration of the beach and the area, because it will further protect the edges of the marsh. Now, conservation speaking, the marsh is one of the most protected resources on the planet, at least our planet. And this whole thing was this whole process here was developed to try to repair the damage that nature has done, and all that sediment goes into the Cut River, which is a negative as well. Like if that was a viable shellfish habitat, you've got excess sediments that are going in to the Cut River and burying shellfish habitat. Granted, a natural process, I get it. As far as filling in the floodplain go, I understand why regulations are made, and regulations are usually in place so that you can do work under certain purview and certain conditions. Agreed. Filling in the floodplain generally has the auspice of, trying to build up the land so that you can put a house on it or something like that. Obviously, that's not the case here. That nowhere is near the intention. And perhaps, and I could be wrong, perhaps that was why this regulation was brought into play about no filling in the coastal environment. My question is how does Marshfield do regular beach nourishment projects to restore even public beaches, or I guess if a private owner wanted to do it, but how does the town deal with ongoing beach nourishment projects, deposition of dredge spoils, things like that? I don't work in Marshfield that often, so I'm at a loss of that experience, but these types of projects are very common on Cape Cod, where I live and work. So I'm at a loss as to why it's being deemed such kind of a negative thing. We thought we were doing a great thing by restoring it to the previous conditions and then protecting that sediment from going into the Cut River again. This is not an egregious restoration to increase beach or anything. There's actually more beach there now than there would be when we're done, because it'll be planted. There'll only be certain areas where you can hang out. So I'm at a loss as to why this is conceived as such a bad thing. We were following Andrew's recommendations, and admittedly, his staff has been very helpful. Zoning applications are not in my wheelhouse too much or too often, but Andrew and his staff have been very helpful getting us to this point. So I guess with that, I'd entertain discussion with the board.
Assuming you want to speak, Steve.
So there's all different variables of why that has changed. So, I've been there my whole life. I checked out this property by water in my skiff. I clam dug in that clam flat since I was 10 years old. There's been different things that have happened there. A barge broke loose during a dredging operation. I used to work on dredges, and it got stuck halfway up the Cut River, and we put a towboat on it at full throttle for about 8 hours to try to move it. And we tore out that whole area there. And then it's finally come back. Because what we tore, if you want to put that back, I'll show you what happened. The flow used to always go this way. And then the towboat blew out this part right here. But this section of the harbor, and now the dike gates work much better. There's much more flow through there. So we don't know what the story with that current is. Now, the Army Corps of Engineers probably should have looked at this, but that portion right there is crucial to the mouth of the harbor of boats coming and going. And we already have a mound of sand there now that keeps building up, that we constantly have to dredge to keep the mouth of the harbor open. So by adding dirt from land to there, I would be totally opposed to that. If you wanted to dredge in front of this area here, take a piece of Cut River off, restore this to where it used to flow, and backfill it, I would probably be in favor of that.
Has Mike DeMayo had anything to say about this?
He didn't, did you guys speak with Mike DeMayo at all? The harbor master?
For years, because he was involved in the dock project. This project was originally going to be part of the dock project, and then Bill Grafton, who was the conservation agent at the time, wanted to separate it into two. So this would have been dealt with 3 years ago, had it gone the way it was originally done, and we had to re-engineer everything. Everything's just taken like years to get back to this day.
Unfortunately, Bill Grafton consistently overlooked the zoning requirements and forged ahead with the conservation approval without getting the zoning requirement. So this is specifically part of the Coastal Wetlands District bylaw. It's not floodplain, it's not building code. This is zoning bylaw that was put in 1972. Dumping, filling, excavating, or transferring of any earth material within the district is prohibited.
Thank you, Andrew. Anything else from the board?
Would dredging, as Steve pointed out, would that alleviate your dock issues?
Yeah, I'm just getting my own sand back, basically, except it's outrageously expensive. Pardon me?
It would get your boat out of the harbor.
And we spend millions to dredge this harbor every.
The only reason
year or
we're
two, and-
proposing to bring in sand, it's not soil, it would be
I
sand.
understand that, but
is-
bringing in from an outside source rather than from, it's one thing for you to dredge some sand up and make Cut River back to its original
I would love to.
flow.
The cost is
and
prohibitive.
backfill it, and then if you lost it, well, all right, we're gonna lose that anyway, okay? But if you're adding 200 yards of sand from somewhere else, that's 200 yards of sand that now we have to move out to sea and dump if it moves into the channel at like,
Well, the whole point of
$50 a yard.
rebuilding the riverbank with the fiber log rolls is to have a riverbank.
Good idea, but I
Hold
think
it
it should
back.
be
It's
done with
not,
dredge-
because
dredge
we
sand.
don't do anything, every day my sand is going into the harbor.
I don't have a problem with your project if you
I-
can see it from the harbor.
Well, okay, hold
Can I
on.
also just quickly just mention the fact that, I've spoken with the Office of Coastal Zone Management. They don't want us rebuilding these riverbanks. They want the natural process to happen. So if you're saying it's a natural process, there's no reason we should be intervening with human action to stop that. So that is part of the floodplain process. That is conversation I've had as the floodplain administrator with the Office of Coastal Zone Management and DEP as it relates to different properties along the Cut River, right up here that want to do bank restoration and have been told that they aren't allowed to do that.
So to answer my previous question, what does the town do in regards to beach nourishment projects?
I can answer it.
Go ahead, Bob.
The coastal wetlands district only covers marsh areas. It doesn't cover the beach. There's no.
But this is a beach.
No. This is a marsh area that is evolving into something different, but it's currently in the coastal wetlands district. If you look at the beaches and how they're zoned, the entire coastline in Marshfield, they're zoned outside of the coastal wetlands district, but on the inside of the barrier beaches and on the inside of the harbor, all the marsh areas are still zoned coastal wetlands. So we don't have that permitting issue.
Huh.
Do we have anything from
Okay.
the audience on this? Anyone in the online audience? Anyone else from the board?
Yeah, Eric Murphy, I agree with Andrew. If the nature wants it, nature's gonna take it. It pulls it down, it continues to flow. It's gonna be, you can see by the pictures going back 30, 40 years, it's steadily progressed that way. I don't think adding any more sand is gonna slow that process down. It's just gonna continue to go.
Steve will be out there with a shovel.
And marshes are, if you ever looked at the harbor from satellite picture, you can see that the sandbars, they shift, they change, they ebb and flow, they move around monthly. And this is just part of natural erosion, and I think you're just gonna have to deal with it and work around it, in my opinion.
I would have to
Anyone else
disagree
from the
because
board?
I'm very simpatico with what your perspective is, but the regulation is pretty black and white on this.
well, Naomi, I think it was 11 Naomi Road did a similar project. It's not as big in scale, but essentially they rebuilt the riverbank with the Koya logs, and I kayak by it all the time, and it's holding just like it's supposed to. And they had to backfill to keep that riverbank
I like it.
intact.
I like that idea. but not with dirt brought in from somewhere else.
Well, we're not talking about dirt, we're talking about sand.
Any material brought in from somewhere else that we potentially could have to pay gigantic money to dredge and bring out to sea again.
So if I may,
I just go one
if I
more
may-
thing, Andrew, and that is about your cost to do that. We get dredges coming in here all the time now. And so, for instance, right now, we're gonna get dredged up into December 31st. They're coming in to dredge Green Harbor Marina and Taylor Marina. And so they have a window of 1 month. They're coming in December 1st. They can't take material to the dredge dump site past December 31st because of flounder spawning in the dump site. So that's it. They have to be done by December 31st. So if you had your permits all set up, these guys that are here anyway, that can't take stuff out to sea, it's just gravy for them to dig some material in front of your area, put it in there, put up your little system, and I personally think it's a good idea to do that.
so Mr. Chairman, what you're saying is the board would be amenable to dredging in front of the site to put the soil back from where it came
About the
from.
board, me.
I would not.
No, you're talking to one of the members.
Oh, I'm
I'm the
sorry.
chairman.
I'll also tell you that CZM and DEP have already denied an NOI to dredge this area.
Triangle out there.
Oh. What was the reasoning for that, may I ask?
Because that's a clear fact. that they want to-
It was new dredging.
Yeah.
It was new dredging over, the proposed thing was new dredging over 40-something thousand square feet.
It was a virgin area that was a clear flat.
Yeah. All right, so anything else from the audience? Anything else from the board? Seeing that there is.
Mr. Chairman, again,
Sure, go
please.
ahead.
Thank you. So one thing that Tim had looked into was getting dredge spoils from one of the town projects and putting it there. Now, trying to move forward here, what I'm trying to understand is what type of project would be permissible. And one of your members is suggesting that if we decided to dredge, we could dredge this sand, put it back from which it came. Now, what I want to be sure is the fiber rolls are necessary to hold that soil back. If we just dredge and put it back where it came from, in 2 years, it's going to be back into the water again. So I'd like to know that if we propose that type of project, would the board be amenable to having the fiber rolls in place to hold that soil and so that it can be planted with marsh grass and try to sustain it in some better way?
Well, the permitting goes a lot farther than this board to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand. We'd have to change the local permit request from nourishment to dredging, I get all that. But the purpose would be to dredge the material that entered the harbor and put it back where it came from. But it would be a pointless project if it weren't for the fiber rolls to try to contain that sediment and prevent the ongoing erosion. So I'm asking if the board is amenable to something like that, we could consider in another separate filings, to move the project in that location, in that direction.
Can we do
Before it ever got to the board, I would make the same determination that it's not allowed in the coastal wetlands district, the transferring of earth. The fill or transferring of earth within the coastal wetlands district is not allowed.
Regardless of
So that you cannot dredge it here and transfer it here.
So even dredging wouldn't work for you?
There's no provision for it in our bylaw.
Well, I guess that's why we would be asking for a variance, right?
Well, we do it in the Narrows in front of Bluefish Cove. We move material there.
Well,
and put it
it's
in a
up to
different
the
location.
applicant. You could, withdraw without prejudice, you could continue, it's up to you. Or you looking, Bob, are we allowed to do a straw vote?
No.
I don't think so.
Does marsh grass grow over that weaving that you put in? Or do you have to look at that forever?
It seems to be at Naomi Road. It holds plant life, yeah.
Is it, so in 10 years, will you see socks lining the river? basically.
Yeah, they're tiered up, staked in, held back with anchors.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of the ones you did, but
Yeah.
I don't know how.
And the
Yeah,
plantings.
it would, from the ocean side, it would look exactly similar to the project at 11 Naomi that has the stacked fiber rolls with the stakes or anchors in front to hold the rolls in place. It would look just like that from the ocean side. And then whatever the material that's placed behind the fiber rolls would then, if the elevation is critical, but it would be planted with marsh grass with the hopes that nature would allow it to stay there.
Yeah, you see the blue streak of water when you're coming out Cut River, how it goes straight to the east, like partially past his property, past the pier? That was never there for decades when I was growing up. That was a product of a barge that broke loose. It used to flow straight back. And that bank wasn't there like that. So there's been a lot of movement there that was caused by man, not just nature.
I can't speak to that. I don't have the
I
historic
was there.
knowledge.
What happened?
I understand.
So what would you like to do?
So if there's no way that any material can be put there, whether it's from dredging or beach nourishment, per Andrew's determinations, I'm gonna leave it to Tim, Mr. Shanahan. But it doesn't sound like there's any even middle ground
Not
here
feeling
to
the
work
love,
with.
so I think I'd like to stop the pain of many thousands into this and,
Well, you can withdraw without prejudice, which means
You gotta get
come back
CCM
later-
on
come
board
back
anyway.
later with a
Okay.
proposal within.
let's do that.
Okay,
I request to withdraw without prejudice.
thank you.
I think, I agree with Steve. I mean, if this was going to be approved, that is the correct way to do it, is to do it that way, so.
So Bob, we can just withdraw without prejudice. So 2557A Sailors Valentine Trust, 34 Marginal Street rear, request to withdraw without prejudice. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye?
Aye.
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 Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So now we have 2563 Michael Young. The petitioner is.
Nice, easy one.
We hope-
All of these I just watched.
The petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code, to construct a 20-foot by 10-foot four-season room on the existing deck on the property located at 17 Clear Echo Lane, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel K101644A, and is located in the R3 zoning district. Go ahead.
Brian, I gotta recuse myself because I didn't get a chance to look at this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, my name is Michael Youngs. I'm here tonight to discuss my application for a 19-foot, 4-inch by 9/11 four-season sunroom on my existing deck. The sunroom will sit entirely within the footprint of the current deck. We're not expanding or changing the current layout. To keep the impact to a minimum, we're using helical pairs instead of traditional concrete footings, which means there'll be very little ground disturbance in there. I started this with going to Andrew, like I do with every project at that home. That home was a foreclosure in 2016. Before I do anything, I've taken that home completely from what it was in 2016 as a bad mess to a beautiful home today. This, I think, will be my last project, but I've said that several times. But I start those projects, as Andrew will say, going to Andrew and getting his guidance. My first step to this was a floodplain permit. I went to conservation on 10/15 to get the approval from the conservation, which I received on the 15th. And the last part of this was to come to the zoning board. Andrew did send Jim from his office out there to take a peek. We talked about the project and what needed to be done and the right way to go about it. Michael Seeley from Conservation also came out. We talked about the project and went through that as well prior to that. So really, it's a pretty simple project that is going on the existing deck that we're taking down and putting this room out there so that it adds about another 200 square foot of living space that we could use year-round on the home there. All my neighbors are fully aware and can't wait to go out there in a
Hang out.
snowstorm. Yeah, so we've gone about it, and Nancy will tell you, I worked with her a lot on the paperwork, because I wasn't really sure how to go about doing this, so I've taken everybody in town's leadership on how to go about doing this, and have done everything that we've been told to do.
I didn't know where Clear Echo Lane was,
It's
but.
off of Town Way.
No, I went there, but
Okay.
I didn't know that was the name of that road.
Nobody knows it.
I had known the road, but I didn't know that was the name of that
Don't
road.
tell anybody.
It's a great place, everyone head down
It's
there.
a great spot. It's
No
funny
way to
because
turn around at the end.
there's a firefighter that drives for Dennis Keys in town
Yeah.
that brings me to the airport, and he goes, "I've worked in this town for 27 years. I've never seen this road."
I knew of the road, I just didn't know the name of it.
Yeah, it's a great little spot.
Yeah. It's a good step back for parties. So, any questions from the board here?
I mean, my question is, why is this a special permit?
It's because of the.
Because
the
it's,
lot-
because it's two lots?
The lot, there's two lots, and it's non-conforming, I Doesn't think, have on a- the
yeah.
backside, Andrew, is that what it was?
Yeah, the house is non-conforming to the rear setback, and you're extending that, that non-conformity.
Not it.
So if, maybe it's just because it's two lots. I'm looking at that distance from what was the deck, what will be living space, to the lot line, that dot lot line that splits the two lots. My only worry is that, that second lot, the lot on the right gets sold sometime in the future, and then all of a sudden we're close.
It can't, it's only total.
It would create a non-conforming lot, so you can't.
Gotcha, all
I
right.
think too, the problem was Andrew originally said, if you look at where the house is and the existing deck is, I think it was
Well,
this
it
part.
Can't, it's
Yeah,
never can.
There was there, and
Yeah.
believe me, that second lot is.
It's the
never
rear
been sold.
setback.
Yeah,
It's the rear setback.
The rear setback is why you're
Okay,
here.
all right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't the setback to what would be the lot line, had that other lot at some point in the future get sold off.
Yeah, but
and
he
then it's
still
too
would
close.
meet it because it's 15 feet to the
Yeah.
side lot line. He'd be fine there. It's just because it's.
Yeah, so I had this new plot plan done by Dave Holland last week, and he had said, it's 25.8 to that rear
And you need
spot.
30.
And you need 30.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason I didn't go any bigger on this, because then it would have made the non-conformity even worse.
Worse, yeah.
So I'm keeping it exactly non-conforming the way it was
It
from
was.
that time.
Good. All right, any questions from anybody on this? Seeing that there's none. I'm gonna move that we close 2563 Michael Young's, what number, 17 Clear Echo?
Yep.
Did I say that right? Clear Echo Lane. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Oh, all in
Rob
favor?
Ramsey,
Steve?
I recuse myself.
Oh, all right. Brian Murphy, aye.
Mac Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
All right, so I'm gonna move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's application for a special permit, subject to the conditions. So Andrew, he just needs a building permit,
Compliance with the floodplain bylaw,
compliance with the, go ahead.
building permit,
Yep.
certificate of occupancy, and a final as-built.
I'm adopting what Andrew said. Those conditions, based on a finding that the applicant's proposal to construct a 20-foot by 10-foot four-season room on the existing deck on the property at 17 Clear Echo Lane, as described in a written narrative describing proposed work in sunroom, one page, and shown generally on a building location plan dated March 31st, 1995 by EET Incorporated, Neil Murphy, PLS. Did you update that, he said?
Yeah, I had to, that,
Who's the new guy?
David Holland survey,
Oh, so Holland Survey,
dated October 23rd, 25.
October 23rd, 2025.
Yep.
And hand-drawn graph paper sketch elevation by New England Sunroom by Mason Bolivar, showing a design proposed on the sunroom dated October 5th, 2025, meets the special permit criteria 1012 of the bylaw. So I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Rob Ramsey, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye?
Mac Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
So sorry, Nancy, so it was Larry, JJ, myself, Mac, and Eric on that one.
Thank you.
Sorry, John. You had the other one. All right, so now we are on to
Thanks.
the jetty. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was easy.
Compared to those others, yes.
Yeah.
Good luck.
We just wanted to make you sweat.
So now we have 2534, The Jetty LLC, 278 Ocean Street. Name and address for the record, and go ahead.
Evening, Brendan Sullivan, Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors, here with the owner and applicant, Richard Vaughn, for the Jetty Restaurant at Ocean Street. So since the last meeting, we've sat down with Andrew, went over a number of issues. We've updated the plan. Like I said, since the last meeting, we removed the raised seating area, northeast corner of the patio. We removed the raw bar. We've enlarged the ADA parking to accommodate an ADA van. We've also shifted the ADA space to avoid utility pole. We've also provided a radius turn analysis depicting the ADA van accessible spot. We've also indicated a 4-foot wide ADA accessible route from the parking area to the hostess station. From the hostess station to the front door, the broken asphalt will be removed and be replaced with granite pavers, most likely like dry laid, so the water can go through the joints of the pavement, of the pavers. The slope will be no more than 1.5%. It's pretty flat out there anyway. We've added 2 ADA accessible tables within in line with the ADA accessible route. We reduced the landscape area from an 8-inch curb height to a 3-inch curb height. There will be the existing buoy that's out there. We will fill with concrete to keep it from floating around during large storm events. We've identified existing materials to remain. We've increased the depth of the bollards and the to increase it to 36 inches. And I think that just about covers everything.
Okay. Andrew, are you happy with the new updated map?
Yeah, we had a very productive meeting and went over everything, and they've made all the required changes to kind of shift the parking spot over so that it got the right size and it misses that pole. And by doing this accessible route and adding those chairs and cutting that into the existing asphalt, repairing that, they're going to bring it all into accessibility compliance with that. So the rest of it is they'll be able to go through conservation as far as all the rest of it.
Okay, anything from the board?
He has made the major changes that Andrew was looking for. This was the engineering plan that had been requested.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone
I'm
else?
ready, yep. Ready for me to talk?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, first off, we have a bylaw that provides for on-site parking for restaurants. So, what are we gonna do about that?
I believe this is beyond the scope of this approval.
This was a site plan review to eliminate the Jersey barriers that were in place.
This is site plan review.
Right, but you're
Right.
closing down the parking lot, correctly?
No, that was already done.
That was done by the select board a year and a half ago.
And so, what we have here is this, I've got the law in front of me. So it says, before approving any request to extend an earlier granted approval, a city, town, or local licensing authority may modify the scope of the approval as the city, town, or local licensing authority deems proper and appropriate, including but not limited to modifying the terms of the earlier granted approval to address potential issues with snow removal, pedestrian traffic, and similar concerns. So that gives the Board of Selectmen the right to revisit any of these things on whether or not they're gonna allow on-site parking to be turned into outside dining, in my opinion. And I'm sure that they're considering to revisit this, especially now that they've granted 99-seat bar room to the shops at Brent Rock. What are we gonna do if they wanna have their parking lot to be on-site dining, and Haddad's, and the Venus, and the Hop, and every restaurant in this town wants to close down their parking lot and have on-site dining on the parking lot. What kind of precedent are we gonna set by doing this? Because I've talked to the selectmen about this. I mean, I certainly can't tell them what to do, like some people I know try to tell them what to do. But I wouldn't tell them what to do. I can just suggest that they revisit the whole guidelines that they have for on-site dining and the requirement for on-site parking. That's my suggestion to them. What they do with it is up to them, obviously.
But if they did do that, wouldn't he suffer the consequences of that? If he went forward with this and did all this work. And
Right,
then
so
the
why would you want to grant him the right to do it,
'Cause they
knowing
may not
that knowing in the future, they might change the rules on on-site
That would
dining?
be his decision. If he wanted
It's
to
not
go
his
forward-
decision, it's the selectmen's decision.
There are no facts about the future.
If he decided to invest this money and go forward with this project, and then a month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, the selectmen say, okay, we're doing away with that, we're gonna revisit this, it would be him suffering the consequences. They would have to restore their parking lot.
Didn't we discuss before that the parking lot was actually from the COVID-19, that they were allowed, it was a state, that they were allowed to do that? and-
This has been through the.
Yeah,
up and down the
it's been up and
flagpole
down,
with the
yeah.
attorneys, with the select board.
Yeah.
and
Got all the
determined that-
laws right here.
I'm speaking.
Read them all.
That's not what's in front of us.
I just have one question for Bob. Do you agree that the Board of Selectmen, the current Board of Selectmen, can revisit the past Board of Selectmen's rulings on on-site dining in parking lots?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, though, if they do that and they revisit it and revoke that, it would be on them. I'm sure he's not.
Okay.
Wouldn't
Well,
be-
I can't vote on this anyway.
That would
I'm just
be
making a comment.
That would, no,
I can't vote on it
understand
anyway, so it
would be
doesn't
a
matter.
substantial cost.
I'm just bringing up the fact that
In
the
all
selectmen,
honesty, do I think, my personal opinion, do I think they should, I remember when Matt Kayla had this, and he did the small addition on the side, parking was a huge issue, it was humongous. So, that's not what we're dealing with now, they've already been allowed to use this parking lot through the COVID issues that were going on. He's already invested a ton of money, Andrew was very adamant about the ADA accessibility of this, he wanted a design engineer, this isn't all scratched on a piece of paper now.
I get it,
And if
Larry.
he does this investment, which is gonna be a major investment, and 6 months from now it gets revoked from him, he's gonna pay the cost for it, not us, not the town, that would be on him, and they would be restoring it back to a parking lot.
okay, I'm just making the point that the
Yeah, it's
Board
a
of
good
Selectmen
point. It's a
has the
good,
right
valid point.
to change this policy any day they want to. And we will have future selectmen that aren't on the board now.
Maybe you.
All right, any other questions?
I
Go ahead.
So, I mean, I love what you guys are doing with the place, it looks fantastic. My problem is with the handicap parking spot being, it's only accessible to the front of the building by a sidewalk. And this weekend, I think it was Thursday, I drove by, there was a van parked in the handicap accessible spot and 3 cars parked on the sidewalk between the accessible spot and the front door. Meaning the person, whoever was handicapped, has had to go out into the street and walk around the 3 cars to get to the front door.
See.
I'm just curious, is there any way to, limit the parking on the sidewalk?
Well, again, I think from, 250 or so past the Marine store, there is no sidewalk. People park there because there is no sidewalk. I did a quick drive-by today. There's not one no parking sign, other than the jetty's no parking sign, from the bullnose in front of 250 Ocean Street, or either further back, to St. Anne's Church. So, calling that a sidewalk, not having any no parking signs, and not enforcing any parking, cannot be the responsibility of the jetty for 3/4 of a mile of sidewalk.
So it is a sidewalk. The town has plans drawn within the last year to put in a new sidewalk and granite curbing. And I believe it is the safety officer of the town of Marshfield has come down and removed cars from those parking spots. So, I mean, it is a sidewalk. And the question would be, that I would have, is when the sidewalk is full, what is the protocol for the handicap parking to get in the front door?
We do have accessibility from the handicap spot. If you see, we have the bollard space with 4-foot spacing. So we need a minimum 36 inches. We're proposing 48 inches, which would go right by that accessible table and would actually be more of a direct route. We actually had that route on a previous plan, and Andrew had suggested maybe showing it on the street side, because it's a more of a durable pavement.
Yeah, sorry, that wasn't a suggestion. It was part of what the state was requiring, that anybody accessing if they were coming from a handicap spot, they have to use the same access as anybody else. So if this was going to be the main hostess area, they have to have the same access there. That was the only reason they couldn't have like a secondary access.
So in reality, even though it's not shown on the plan, they can still access the front door from the accessible space.
Okay.
Is there that is technically a sidewalk, as you said. Can the safety officer put up a no parking sign, or is that something that is in the works or has been talked about that anyone knows?
On the 3rd of July, they still come down and ticket on occasion on that side. If there's cars parked on that sidewalk, they will make people leave. So, I mean, they are aware of it. The designs have been drawn. You can see the curbing on one end or the other. It is coming. It's a matter of when.
And I would imagine once the curbing's there, there'd be no parking on it. But, I mean, the parking in front of the Marine store, the parking in front of 6 North Street, the parking in front of the old barn, you can't hold the jetty to a higher standard than anyone else on the street.
Do we have any more questions? Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Real quick? The only way to solve that problem for both parties would be to move this Jersey barrier back and have, for the first 4 feet, have this accessible route right here on your property from the parking space right to here, and then turn up and just push these Jersey barriers back that 4 feet and have an accessible route designated on the site plan on your property. Then technically you wouldn't have to worry about whatever the town does with the sidewalk.
Would that be until the new curbing and new sidewalk get built, constructed?
You're not gonna wanna dig up bollards and stuff?
No.
But as long as they provide it on their property, they don't have to, they're in compliance. You know, if they're not reliant on the town sidewalk to provide the accessible route from the parking spot to the hostess station and that entrance, then they don't have to worry about what the town does on the sidewalk, whatever. They're in compliance.
And like you said, once the sidewalk is there, people aren't gonna park on the sidewalk.
Are they, Andrew, is this plan in compliance?
It is technically, because they can utilize the sidewalk as part of the accessible route. If the board has a problem with that, that's, within your purview, within site plan approval. What I'm trying to suggest is a potential solution, which would involve basically moving, this bollard back to this line and having this 4 foot as part of the accessible route to the parking space. So you're not reliant on that little sidewalk area. That's all I was saying.
Bottom line, the handicapped accessibility would be completely on his property.
Is that something that you'd want to do?
I would like to see the plans that Eric's talking about, because it might be very awkward when they do put the sidewalk in, to have a step down, step up, bollards. I mean, I hate to move it back 4 feet and then which.
What would be okay then if we conditioned it that if they do put the sidewalk in, you'd, we'll put it in one of the conditions that you would move that back to 4 feet to get it on.
No, it's a.
No, it's actually the opposite.
The opposite.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So we'd want to move it forward, which would be cost prohibitive at that point if they're actually putting the sidewalk in.
Right. So is that what you'd want to do?
I wouldn't want to do it twice.
Yeah, all right.
And again, I think this walkway is perfectly legal, and I think that if there's an enforcement issue, we need to look at the enforcement issue. Maybe we could do something, with paint. But again, I think we're being held to a higher standard about the sidewalk than anyone else in Brant Rock. People park up and down the right-hand side of the Esplanade all day long.
If it's tight parking there anyway, if you move that back 4 feet, they're just gonna park in his property 4 feet back.
Yeah.
In reality.
I would
You're
tend to agree, if he's in compliance, he's in compliance.
And again, we have a no parking sign. We do ask people when we see them to pull up, not to park there, but, you get a 16-year-old hostess standing there and a grumpy old man parking his car.
So I'd like to just say one more thing, Brian.
Sure, go ahead.
So if, with Nancy Wood, I would like to have it put in the record, in the minutes, that the applicant was made aware of, Section D of Chapter 40A of the general laws, and that Bob agreed that at any time, the Board of Selectmen in the future can change the policy on outside dining.
Is that okay, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, he's
Well, you can
stated it, it's in the meeting minutes, so.
I can't vote on this.
You can add it in when I'm speaking about the
Okay.
conditions. All right?
And so who's voting?
So the voting members are going to be Larry, JJ, myself, Mac, and Jean.
Could you repeat that again, Brian?
It's Larry, JJ, myself, Mac, and Jean. All right, so I'm gonna move that we close, is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak on this? 2534, The Jetty LLC, 278 Ocean Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye. Joe Ramsey, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Mike Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
And so I am going to move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's application for site plan approval, subject to the conditions. Andrew, do you have any conditions for me?
I can put up the conditions that are in the bylaw.
Sure, so I'll just adopt those.
And then what I said, right?
Yeah, well, no, then you can say it. I'll just have you add it. So I'm gonna adopt the conditions in the bylaw.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not really conditions, they're,
Oh, they have to meet them anyways.
it's design objectives and review criteria and performance standards, so, I mean, it's not really like a special permit, it's up to you to determine
All right.
individually for each site plan what you want them to do.
Sounds good. Steve?
So just put in the conditions that the
I'm
applicant is,
adopting what Steve's saying right now.
that the applicant is aware of Section 4, Chapter 48, and there's a whole bunch of other numbers, Section D, that at any time in the future, the Board of Selectmen or a new Board of Selectmen can change the the granting of having outside dining in their parking lot.
Okay, and so. So my conditions, based on the finding of the applicant's proposal, for site plan approval in accordance with 305, 1202 of the Marshfield Municipal Code for replacement of the existing temporary Jersey barriers with a landscape island and bollards for the protection of customers on the patio on the property located at 278 Ocean Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcels N070134, N070135, and is located in the B4 zoning district, Brant Rock Village overlay, on a plan drawn by, is it Brendan?
Yes.
Brendan Sullivan from Merrill Associates dated June 20, is that the most recent, June 23rd, 2025?
Last revised, 10/23/25.
So revised 10/23/25. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye. Joe Ramsey, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye?
Mike Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, so now we have Michael Mazzini. Are they here? This guy
Rick
knows.
sent over a new plan.
He did?
Yeah.
Is he here?
Is he on Zoom? Martin?
I don't see anyone out there. All right, we'll skip over him and we'll go to the next person.
We've heard from him already.
Oh,
That guy, is that the same one?
the Bruces?
Oh, no, I thought I was thinking that.
Zini, we had discussions, and all we were waiting on was the updated
Yeah.
site plan
Yeah,
with the fencing.
yeah. Do we have everything? But he's not, no one's here to
No one's
present.
here.
No one's here to talk about it.
We'll just
The
continue.
other thing is, didn't the bylaw only allow two?
It only allows two, so I'm gonna continue Michael Mazzini since no one's here. 2541 Michael Mazzini, 2105 Ocean Street. We're going to continue to November 25th.
Can we continue to the 9th, since it's a holiday week, and maybe not overload our schedule? for
Okay,
that night, and then-
December 9th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Is that a variance, by the way?
I don't know.
It says.
Special permit?
Special permit.
All right, I just wanted, I wanted to.
Yeah, with
make
the 100
sure we're
days,
on the
yeah.
follow anytime
I
frame.
had one.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
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 Jean Lee, aye.
Aye.
All right, now we're on to 2542 Matthew Bruce, trustee, Bruce Family Realty Trust. No one here?
Did they ask for continuance, Nancy?
The last correspondence I have was continued to tonight.
See, I thought it was continued until November,
I did too, but I could be
not tonight.
completely
I was,
wrong.
I mean, these
I
these
didn't
people
see
have been at
another letter.
every meeting.
Yeah.
right, and I thought it was.
the butter has
continued-
been at every meeting.
That's why I got up.
Butters right here.
Yeah.
Oh, the abutters, yeah, but I thought it was November.
But I have to
Did
request it to
the
be.
engineers were gonna meet? I think the board wanted the engineers to.
That was
Yeah.
the discussion.
That was the-
Engineers were gonna meet.
We were gonna, oh, well, no, they were just gonna meet and discuss where the different
line
lot
was.
line
Yeah.
is.
Because Rick would have been here.
Yeah.
But the last
Rick's
letter I
on
have
here.
from Adam Brodsky's office is to continue from the 14th to the 28th.
So now
Unless
what?
I missed another after that, but I don't think so.
This is a variance, right?
One
One
is,
one part of this is a variance.
one is a variance and one is a
So we need a
special.
time extension from somebody.
Why don't we just vote
on
it?
We
Let's
vote-
just
we
vote.
already-
We can vote on it.
Yeah,
Let's
like
get,
that,
let's
yeah.
get rid of it.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
good.
I'm in agreement.
They're either gonna accept it or appeal it.
Right, so. Bob, did
Do you
you?
wanna see if you've got any information from the abutter as to
Oh,
if
yeah.
there's an agreement on the line?
Can you speak on this?
I haven't heard a peep.
Not a peep.
I have nothing.
Which one are we gonna vote on, Brian? 42, 43?
Well, we gotta do them both.
Discuss it.
So
quickly.
we're sure that we don't have the wrong date though, right?
I find it hard to believe that Attorney Brodsky would miss a date. He's
Yeah.
extremely conscientious.
Well, this is a variance, so we need someone to extend this.
But I think we got an extension.
Hey,
I have an extension
I-
from him.
I have an email up right here where they're requesting, there's a conversation to request to do it to the November 25th,
Okay,
but that they accidentally set the letter with October 28th, but they were supposed to do November 25th.
That's what you should do.
So that's, yeah, so
so we continued to November 25th.
well,
Sorry.
we should.
So do we have
But the
the,
letter said the 28th.
do we have the,
Letter.
Thank
we have
you,
the,
Andrew.
the very, you know, the agreement?
Bob, does that
will be
suffice?
Constructive.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay,
It
It
Never
wasn't.
written request.
Good job.
all right, so I'm
Thank you,
gonna,
Andrew.
I'm gonna move that we continue 2542 Matthew Bruce, trustee, Bruce Family Realty Trust. What is the 8 Ocean Street to November 25th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Steve Rich,
Or Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Mac Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
We apologize.
then what about the next one?
2542A, Matthew Bruce, trustee, Bruce Family Realty Trust. 8 Ocean Street, continued to November 25th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Or Hensley, aye.
Steve, you didn't say
All right,
that? Brian Murphy, aye?
Mac
I
Brothers,
did want
aye.
to ask her a question before she left, but she left.
Eric Murphy,
I
aye.
think she's not
Just wanted to
happy.
see if the surveyors did get together and,
She said no.
She said
oh, she
she said
said-
she didn't hear from him.
Oh, really?
She said she didn't hear.
Yeah.
Hadn't heard anything, nothing.
Still run down there, Steve. Get it done. All right, so those two are done. Do we have anything
What about
else?
this one?
Your meeting minutes,
Oh, special permit.
Yeah, 2 sets of minutes.
Oh, we did him. That's
We did the variance, didn't we? Yeah, we did that one. 57A, but we haven't done 57.
Valentine Trust, oh, marginal street rear. We gotta
You already
extend.
did that.
No, we didn't.
He withdrew it.
He withdrew, but he has two of them. He had the variance and the special permit. We have
They
to,
continued the special permit because the guy left.
okay.
And then Nancy left.
2557 Sandler Valentine Trust, 34 Marginal Street rear, continued to November 25th, 2025. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Larry King, aye.
Aye.
Good thing you caught that. Brian Murphy, aye.
Mike Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Eric Murphy, aye.
Constructively. All right, is there just the minutes, or what's this? No, that's not till 12/9. So we have the approval of minutes for September 24th, 2025, and October 14th, 2025. You all good?
Yeah, good.
All right, second?
Second.
Larry King, aye.
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 Jean Lee, aye.
Aye.
Adjournment, second? All in favor?
Larry King, aye.
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 Brian Murphy, aye.
Mike Brothers, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Aye.
Red light.
That's all you
Red
need.
light
Someone-
district.